called From Here to the Great Unknown by Lisa Marie Presley and Raleigh KUHS. And I suggest you get this book. And we're going to talk about this a little bit. We're also going to talk about the movie Priscilla, which is based on Priscilla Presley's book that she wrote many years ago, which, by the way, I got to meet her in June. Laura and I got to meet her in June at the Fan Expo. And very nice lady. And we'll also talk about that, go around that area. And we'll also talk about recently, they just made a new biography, 2024, about Elvis's personal, detailed life, of things that they never knew about Elvis. You know, he wasn't just this guy in a jumpsuit. He wasn't just this major superstar. He actually was a decent human being and a father and a husband. And so we'll talk about that.
You bet. And Shelvis, welcome to KUHS. I hope you like our new digs here.
It's great, man. I love the space.
Yeah, you like it?
You look at the windows. It's open in here. You can see outside. It's snowing. It's lit up. More better energy. Good mojo.
That's right. You can feel it. And so welcome everybody to KUHS World Communications. KUHS Entertainment presents Shelvis. And she's going to bring us some really good information and things about Elvis and what he was all about. We always do this for his
birthday, which is, what is it? What day?
I can't remember.
January 8th.
I knew that.
Which
That's
is
what I was
Wednesday.
saying,
It's Wednesday. He would be 89 years old.
Lord have mercy. And so with that being said, we've got a lot to offer here. We brought the book, and it was finished out. It was Lisa Marie Presley.
Excellent book.
And
excellent.
It's awesome. It's written, and you got to go to Graceland and see a lot of things. So we're going to start out. First, we're going to let everybody know who Shelvis is. A lot of people.
And Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of people don't
Year.
know who Shelvis is. A lot of people that are on right now do. We're going to say shout out to you. Of course, Japan, Colombia, Spain, Greece, Indonesia, the Russian Federation, United Kingdom, India, and United Arab Emirates. And a lot more than that. But we try to stay up with it all and enjoy what we've got going here. With Shelvis. So we're going to start out with talking about how you first started doing the Shelvis.
I started doing it when I was a little girl. Like I said, my Aunt Kathy, we lived in New Jersey, we lived next door to each other, and she would play Elvis records all the time. So I would hear them out the window, next door, because my mother's older sister and her middle sister, Honey, my mom, were very close. And my cousins, the Rays, she had 3 girls and a boy, Frankie and Kathleen and Janine and Laura, and so we all kind of we're a knit family, and so we did everything together. So there was always music playing, and of course in my aunt's house was always Elvis, and my cousins, they were all into like Rolling Stones and all the other groups back then, but me, I was a huge Elvis fan.
And man, do you play it good too? It's like, we have, and we want to do a shout out to a couple of fans that are sitting in the studio with us, and we both said, come on down, let's enjoy this show. And they get to see a show live here, and they probably have never been to a setup like this. And I'm wondering, hello, how are you doing?
Thanks for coming down.
And so we got to give them a little bit of props in the studio for them coming down and checking out your show here on KUHS. And as you started out, you started doing Elvis, and what made you start singing him all the time?
There was something about Elvis that really was his voice, his vocal, and just his charisma. I mean, basically, when you watched him live, on TV, he wasn't like anyone else. And obviously, we know this now because here we are in 2025, and he's still larger than life, even in death, still making movies, documentaries, books. Impersonators from all over the world. I mean, there's like 100,000 Elvis impersonators in every language. I'm not kidding you. It's a very serious business.
Yes.
The ETAs are huge. One of my favorite impersonators is Dean Z, and there's many of them, and he's an excellent entertainer. And these guys take their craft very seriously. Now, of course, they do not let women participate in ETA contests because, Elvis wasn't a female. And so that is not required in the contest. But they will let them participate, and sometimes other countries like Australia or Canada, they will let women participate in the ETA, which is the, Elvis big contests, and they make lots of money. They make $150,000,
A lot of money,
$250,000 doing this stuff. And then here in the States, of course, they had the big concert where Priscilla sometimes is the main judge of the impersonator, you know, and they have to pay a lot of money for rights and caps and all this stuff. So there's a lot of investment in being an ET, which is an Elvis tribute artist. Don't say impersonator anymore because they don't want to be called that.
They don't like that.
You know, so and I don't consider myself an ETA because I do many impressions, not just Elvis. You know, I do Buddy Holly, John Travolta. You know, I love Tom Jones. I just saw Tom Jones.
Oh, did you really?
I just saw Tom
and
Jones.
You can still belt
in September,
it out
I saw him. Oh my gosh! You know, now here's a man also. 80. You know, I think he's 89.
And he could
he's
still
up there.
blast it out there.
Well, it took him a while to get on the stage.
You're going to crank it up.
He's working out there. But what was amazing about him is that he talked about Elvis as a friend. He talked about Elvis and his vocal. He talked about Elvis and his personal relationship with him and how he was one of the greatest entertainers in Las Vegas and what a presence he had when he walked in the room. When he walked in the room, everybody just froze.
Like,
I mean, that's just the type of man he was.
His energy, his,
Oh my God,
his
yes.
aura,
Yeah.
his persona.
But if you would ask Elvis, Elvis would say Tom Jones is a great singer.
Yeah,
And
so
by
they
far
both,
he
they,
is.
They both are.
Yeah, I love Tom Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was a little kid, my mother put me in front of the TV, his TV show. Here I am, I'm like 5, and I'm like, oh, mommy, that man has a big talent. So I was like, wait a minute here, and his chest would be hanging out. Here I'm 5. He's like, what's new, pussycat? You know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know. So I got to see Tom Jones at the Wynn. We stayed there, in a lovely hotel, and he was phenomenal. And he spoke of Elvis, highly of Elvis, so.
And that's just really cool. Is it?
Yeah.
I saw him on, I think it's The Voice or one of those shows, and somebody was egging him on, and they were trying to sing like him, you know. And so Tom Jones just kicked it in, you know. He just started singing.
Not unusual to be loved by anyone.
That's right.
Right? So-
Kicked this on that one.
Yeah, so
I hope you're
and then
enjoying this,
and then
Jim,
John
Mr.
Travolta,
Mrs.
you know,
Jim.
I started doing over there. There, you guys bored?
Yeah, you guys
Okay.
bored. Now check it out. Now you did and I want to insert this right
Yeah.
now. Now you did, because you sang Tom Jones right now.
Yeah, I did Tom Jones. Yes.
And you did a special show at the Soiled Underground.
Sold
Sold
Up
Up,
Underground. Yes, it was a
Sold Up.
tribute to Elvis, and
And you brought in a backdrop of some horns. And
Yes,
so that was
yes.
the brass attack horns.
Brass attack horns. Chris Hall helped me with that. He's an amazing saxophone player. He directed those guys. We practiced at his house, and we created this show. And we did the 50s, 60s, and 70s Elvis. You know, and it came out beautifully.
Jesus.
It was
Especially
excellent.
with the horn section
Yeah,
backing
yeah.
you. You perform like I've never seen you perform before.
Well, when you have that whole
Back up,
production,
yeah.
you're just like the
Man,
whole.
how easy
you're
is
there. You're
it?
Elvis. You got to be.
Whoa.
You're Elvis. You're the king. You know, and for me, it's a passion, and I've been watching him since I was 5. So, you know, every move, every area he's going to talk, and how he's going to use his comedy. He was very, very comedic-like on stage, and very human. You know, he's very personable with his audience. So, when you're an Elvis impersonator, or I should say ETA, Elvis tribute artist, say that, you have to be personable. Elvis loved every single person that sat in those seats, and he made it very clear to the world that that was his love
And he
of the
touched
people.
everybody.
He touched everybody.
Everybody,
Every
went
single
in.
person, you know, from little kids to people who are 100 years old, you know.
And his costumes are
Oh,
so.
gosh.
I mean, he used to put money into those costumes, and you know, everybody used to try to mimic those costumes when
Right.
they go to.
I'm wearing an authentic jacket.
Yeah,
this is
when-
from this is from
Yeah, we
this
try
is
to
from Vegas.
Yeah, we try to recreate this.
Yeah,
stuff.
and this is actually a pattern, actual pattern. These are very expensive costumes. These are custom made. You pay anywhere between $200 to $300 per jacket now. Back then they were like $95. Back in the day when I bought these, I still fit in them, thank God. So it's a lot of money with the rings and the jewelry, these glasses. You get them custom made for your head so you don't look like a huge fly or a bug. You got to shape your face. They're $25 a piece or more, so it's a lot of investment. Yeah.
And then just with this horn section, what it does for you as a person singing, and there's a lot of individuals who know what that means when you have that brass behind you.
Well,
You've
when
got
you
that
hear
rhythm
that
section.
2001 Odyssey, da, 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 boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, you're like, phew, you're shooting out like a rocket, man, you know?
And the energy you get.
You'll see rider, you're up there, you'll see what you have done. You know, you're there, you're him.
Yes,
you know,
easily.
So that gives you that energy and
so give us
you know.
a couple of give me a line of your opening song there at the
Oh, so
How did
that
you
was
start?
the one. That was
That was it, right? That's what I was
2001
going to say.
Odyssey. So,
and the reason I said that
yeah.
to you because I remember that.
Well, first when we did the Tupelo, you know, session, right, it would come out, ladies and gentlemen, here's a fine young gentleman from Tupelo, Mississippi, Mr. Elvis Presley, which would be the impersonation of
Ed Sullivan.
That's right, Ed Sullivan. And he'd come out and he'd be, thank you, and he'd be very, very shy.
Thank
and he'd
you.
be very
Thank you
shy,
very much.
very shy. Let me tell you something about Elvis. Even though he was big and he was like brazen on stage, shy, insecure, good old boy from Tupelo, to the day he died. That's the kind of person he was. He never thought he was good enough. Never. You know, and he always tried harder and harder and harder to please the fans, you know. And that's why they loved him so much. Regardless of, you know, some of his things that he went through, his addictions and his marital situation and family, even though he loved his family. I mean, he loved being around his family all the time. I mean, they all lived together all the time, forever, everywhere. He always had his family with him, traveled with him, did everything with him. He still was insecure because he always felt he wasn't good enough.
Wow.
So when he stood on that stage at Sullivan, here's this guy. Now, of course, a lot of the African American culture loved Elvis because they opened a lot of doors for them to be on the radio because he was the first white guy to have that sound.
And it was a clean sound, but they used to cut him down. Remember,
they cut him down a lot. You know, Little Richard didn't like Elvis. You know, thought he stole a lot of his material. You know, James Brown. You know, a lot of the artists were just like.
They called it with the N word.
Yeah, we don't call that. We don't.
I know. You know, remember they used to do that back in the day for poor Elvis.
Right.
Everybody loved his shaking and all that sexual. They can't do that.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Compared to today.
Like, really? Today? I mean,
they're
now they call it twerking.
Twerking?
Yeah. And everything's out there, you know?
Everything's out there. Woo!
And the lyrics today and R&B today has totally changed from the R&B back in those days, of course.
Yes.
But, you know, and I don't think Elvis meant anything by it. I don't think he was just doing what he grew up on, you know. I mean, you remember he lived in boarding houses where there was all
he was being expressive.
with a lot of African American people, and they were working together and in the fields and working odd jobs. His mother used to do people's laundries and pick cotton, and even Johnny Cash's family did that, and Jerry Lee. They were very poor people. And they lived among the African American culture. And Elvis, by the way, would run down. He'd get out of his church, you know, they'd be singing hymns. Oh, we have in Jesus, you know. And he'd run down to the gospel church, where it was an all-black church, where he couldn't go inside, but he'd stand out the window and listen to the gospel. And it was a love for him.
Because they would jam out.
Well, it was just a soulful, rock and roll, raw feeling with God, and it just set his soul on fire. He loved that music, and incidentally, he won 3 gospel Grammys for gospel only in his whole career, which we know that was his first love. It had to be. I mean, that is the highest achievement you can get in music industry, and he only won 3 for gospel, and beautifully sang gospel, and he sang it all the time. Even when he wasn't off stage, he'd be backstage singing gospel with the Sweet Inspirations, you know, and with a lot of his entourage and the people in his band. He would always be singing, you know, gospel because it made him feel good before he went on stage, you know. So.
And that was real good about what he did. And, you know, he came to Denver plenty of times too.
Yeah, he did. He Nichols. He played Nichols
remember
many
that?
times. Yeah.
There would be maybe 1 or 2 shows, multiple days, wasn't it? 1 or 2 times, I think. And it would sell out instantly. Everybody would be waiting in line.
Yeah.
Back then, used to be a thing called select a seat. And you go over to select a seat to get your tickets. And it was good. Then he'd give away a Cadillac.
Yeah, Captain Kennedy, who was the captain of the Denver Police Department, who I met a couple years ago. He just recently passed away 2 years ago, but he gave him one. Wow. And
where is that?
He probably still has it. His son probably still. They probably still have it. I'm sure of it. And then of course there was another police officer on the Denver police, staff that passed away. a friend of mine, she it was I believe it was her family member, and he paid for for their funeral.
Wow.
For the funeral because the guy couldn't afford it,
Jesus.
and he actually attended it, and nobody knew.
Oh, Lord. How do you go in
Just
incognito?
well, going like this.
Yeah,
of
just-
course, but nobody knew he was going.
Yeah.
You know, Elvis would just get in the car and leave. He'd leave Graceland, he'd go somewhere, he'd go to a donut shop. He used to do it all the time.
Go to the donut shop.
He was just a regular guy. I mean, people
Yeah.
didn't realize he was just a regular
Yeah,
guy,
just-
you know.
I'm just
And
enjoying
actually,
myself.
these clothes were his clothes. You
Yes.
know, this is what he wore. You know, this is who he was.
And you've been doing this, and we got to tell everybody, for how many years?
Oh God, here in I've been living in Colorado probably almost 40 years.
Yes,
Almost half my
we
life.
talked about the Breakfast King after
Yes,
your,
the Breakfast King.
your jams. And we talked about this on some of your other shows that we've had. And the Breakfast King used to be right there on Santa Fe Drive. It was a really nice
Yeah, it's
eatery.
gone.
We call
Yeah.
it the Greasy Spoon because they'd always have the food there for you and it'd be a little greasy, but that's the way it tastes the best. Now, you'd go there after your gigs.
Yeah, we would go to Herman's Hideaway, which is gone, by the way.
That's
Again,
gone, too,
That's
yeah.
gone. And after the show, we'd be like 2 a.m.
Let's go get
close to
something
2
to eat,
a.m. We
yeah.
go down there, you know, had the best cup of Joe coffee. Lori was our waitress. She
You
wore
remember
her
her.
hair up in a bun.
You remember.
And
Hey, Lori, hey,
yeah,
what you
yeah,
guys doing?
yeah. So she was an awesome waitress, and you know, it was very Pulp Fiction like, very orange and bright colors and very 60s.
Remember that
Yeah,
place?
yeah, it was a pretty cool place. And you could order salmon pancakes. That's how
At 2
huge
o'clock
the,
in the
the
morning.
menu was.
Yeah.
You could have anything you want on it at
Yeah.
any time. And so we wrote a song. Laura and I, Laura Whitlock and I wrote the song "The Breakfast King," and the Roustabouts. We collaborated together and created the 2 a.m. And you can get it on live stream.
Well, we're gonna play it
iTunes.
at the end of the show. We're gonna have, you're gonna do a acapella for us too, right?
I'm gonna do an acapella for you.
Yeah, you are?
Yeah.
She's gonna do
I'm
some
gonna do one.
acapella.
I'm gonna do one that's not familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, I always enjoy your.
But you know, I met a lot of Elvis's entourage. You know, I met Jerry Sheenley, who was, you know, his right hand man, and he traveled with Elvis a lot. He actually gave Lisa a job, and he fired her because she wasn't good at it. She hated answering the phone, so she wouldn't answer the phone. So he fired her.
Get
you know.
out of here.
But she worked for him, and that's also in this book. And also Larry Gatler, he was his spiritual mentor. I spoke to him on the phone, and he sent me his book. He signed it to me, and actually, he got Elvis into a lot of different religions. And we won't get into that, but Elvis basically was Christian, but he was always searching for the unknown. So he read a lot of different books that Larry, you know.
And let's talk about Francis Ford Coppola and how it relates to this family.
Oh, well.
We gotta talk about it because you
Francis,
mentioned
the Italian
something.
guy,
Yeah,
right?
the Italian guy, yes.
Great director, by the way. So Sophia Coppola is his granddaughter, and so Priscilla, when they made Priscilla the movie, and Priscilla was, you know, totally, you know, she directed everyone on the film to make it accurate from the book, Elvis and Me. So when I met Priscilla, we talked about that, and she signed the autograph because I still had the book, on the book, and so she had Sophia direct it, and it's so good, and it's so accurate. And even though a lot of people do not like Priscilla, and I understand that, you know, but you remember, Priscilla was 14 years old when he met her in Germany. He was 25 years old.
Wow.
Okay? So, back in those days in the South, it wasn't uncommon for older men to meet younger girls. You know, I mean, they married younger girls, 16, 17, because they had farms, they had a lot of children working on the farms. This was not uncommon in the South back in those days.
Right.
So Elvis thought it was okay. You know, I wanna you know, pursue Priscilla, and he did. He never did anything inappropriate with her until the day they got married.
Really?
And that's the actual day she got pregnant.
Oh, Lord.
The day they got married, and he waited and he waited. And there's a whole bunch of that in the movie Priscilla. So watch the movie Priscilla. You can also read her book, Elvis and Me. So they have the text to the film. Sophia Coppola directed it, which is Francis Ford Coppola's granddaughter. So I would check out that film too, and it's very accurate. So we're talking about a lot of things here.
Yeah, that's what we will have to. You sent me a lot of things that you want to talk about, and so I wanted to make sure.
But that's the most recent, that movie Priscilla and this book.
That
I
book.
hope they make a movie out of this. This would be great.
Because you were talking about it, as we can,
Yeah.
discuss what we're going to
Well,
talk
and
about.
Riley Keough, this poor girl, this is her mother. She had to finish this book after her mother passed away.
And that's hard to do.
And
How
so
do
I have a
you-
lot of
how do you
empathy
sit?
for her, and I have a lot of empathy for Priscilla too, a little bit, because her relationship wasn't good with Lisa, and her mom weren't very close. And that'll explain it in the book, which, it was the time, and it was a difficult time. They had lost Elvis. He was the breadwinner of the whole family. He took care of a lot of people. There was a lot of addiction going on with everyone. And that's in the book. I mean, including Michael Jackson. There's a whole part of Michael Jackson in there. And Priscilla also. And, I mean, it was the time of an era where people were famous, had a lot of money, and there was tragedy came with that. But when Elvis died, and he was the biggest famous singer in the world at the time. I mean, now we have a whole bunch of them.
Yes.
But he was the guy, And when
And he
passed,
had the
it was
addiction too of.
yeah, he had pill addiction and barbiturates and things like that. But they all did.
Everybody.
They
did.
all did.
Yeah.
And it all started in the military with Elvis, by the way. And they used to take speed on the road to him and Jerry Lee to stay awake because they had to drive to the concerts because they toured together back in the 50s. So they would do a lot of that. And then in the military, he started doing more pills, which were prescribed to him, but became an addiction later.
If you just joined us, you're listening to KUHS Communication World Entertainments Presents, and we got Shelvis in the house celebrating Elvis Presley's birthday, which is on the 8th, January 8th. And we do it around the same time, but we do it on a weekend whenever we have time to make sure and get it out there. And I'm so happy you come in to do this.
Yeah, it's great to be
You
here.
suggested it a long time ago.
Yeah,
We've been
because
doing
I
it.
always like to keep Elvis fresh, and you have to remember, folks, Elvis never will die. He is the only entertainer in history, music history, that has two celebrations. One in January, which will be next Wednesday at Graceland. People from all over the world, thousands of people, come to light a candle on that birthday cake for his birthday.
In Graceland. Now,
Graceland.
can we talk about the Graceland visit that you had? And you went there, is it 2 times or once?
I've been there 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the first one, second one, and just as a segue into the 3rd time, okay? So we'll talk about the first one when you first got to be there. I bet you your heart was really beating.
Well, it was in the 1980s. Priscilla opened the Graceland up in '81 because it was about to go bankrupt and they were going to lose it. And if it wasn't for Priscilla, we would have lost Graceland. She saved Graceland. Just let everybody know that, okay? And me and Priscilla talked about that when I met her in June, and I thanked her for that. And then, yes, I went with my boyfriend Tommy at the time,
Right.
and we walked in, and it was very small, and it wasn't big, it wasn't extravagant. People were still living in the house. Delta was still there, Aunt Delta was still living in the house. Matter of fact, Lisa talks about that in here, where they would come down into tours, and she'd be in her robe. And people be walking through the house, and then she'd give them the finger and walk away. And one of them said, "Aren't you Delta?" Oh, and they're like, "No, ma'am, Delta died a long time ago." She would just mess with the people doing the tour, So you were only allowed to see the backyard, which Lisa's swing was back there, and the jungle room, and the kitchen, and the dining room, and the living room. That's it. That's all you saw. You didn't see anything else. It wasn't built up or anything. It was very small, very short tour, and cheap. It was not expensive either. And that was the first time. But yes, I did feel his presence there. I couldn't believe I was sitting on the steps of Graceland and walking around where the horses were, and where his family was still living in the house.
Were they really still living?
Yeah, they were. They lived in the house up till they passed away.
And they were letting people come and tour it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, and they would have to stay upstairs. And even Riley talks about when Lisa used to go back to the house, and they stayed there quite often. And when they had the tours, they had to stay upstairs in Elvis's room and Lisa's room until everybody was done touring. So they would bring food upstairs, and they would just sit and watch movies up there, because that's off limits for anyone to go there, because it's just, it's a personal thing for the family. So, and they'd stay up there all day until the tours were over, and then they go downstairs and they would cook dinner and just live in the house like it was their house, which it was their house, you know. The house was never stopped being lived in by Lisa and her children.
And that was good to see that though.
Yeah, she still does it. Riley still goes back there, and she'll be there actually Wednesday probably. And then of course they do the candlelight vigil for when he passed away.
How big is that now? So now we're moving. You said three times. Now go to the middle. The second time you went there was.
The second time I went there, I went with Laura, and we walked through, and everything was fine, and it was built up more, and we were there a short period of time, and then the third time we went, we toured everything. We did everything, and we saw all the costumes, and we stayed at the Peacock Hotel, which is a beautiful hotel down in Memphis. Actually, Memphis is great, but just stay at Graceland and downtown. And nowhere else, by the way. So, just little tip there when you go to Memphis.
You gotta watch yourself.
But there's a lot of history. We even went and saw the Johnny Cash museum there too, because I like Johnny Cash a lot, and June Carter, and went through the house, and it wasn't quite the same.
Did they start to change?
Yeah, they built it up. They built another room onto the house where the pool is. They built another section so they could have his costumes and everything else displayed. So you could see everything. And but it's not cheap to see that tour, so they wanted to give people their money's worth. And then you can go see his costumes and the plane and all that sort of thing. Matter of fact, that plane was almost sold and taken away past last year.
Wow.
I think it's between 2023 and 2024, and Lisa bought it and kept it, because they were leasing it because somebody had bought it from Elvis, and they were just making money off of it, and they were just going to take it off the property. And she said, "You're not doing that." So they saved that plane and got them to stay there across the street.
Wow. That's nice.
And then I never get the chance to go to see the Tupelo house. That is one of my bucket lists, to go to Tupelo to see that house that was built for $1.49 or $2 that Vernon and his brother built.
I remember Vernon,
which is
Vernon
Elvis's father. And no running water, no toilet, no heat.
Oh Lord.
Think about it. Hot stove, outhouse.
That's all you need.
They went out to the kitchen, and they had to go out and get the chicken, and pluck it out, cook it, on the hot stove with wood, create their heat in there and everything. I mean, you're talking poor. And that's where Elvis was born.
That's the way you're supposed to eat.
Well, I don't know.
Get your fresh chicken, man.
Well, yeah, I ain't got no chicken head. Elvis built a chicken coop at Graceland because she wanted to live like she did in Tupelo, because that's how they,
In New Mexico, that's how they used to do it.
I'm sure they still do it.
Chickens or cows.
Yeah. You're probably healthier.
Yeah,
you don't get bird flu. More fresher, clean chickens, I just finished Trader Joe's. They have no eggs there.
No, I know.
Did you go there? Because of the bird flu. I'm like, so be careful eating eggs, So maybe that was good, having your own chickens. I couldn't do it because I'm an animal lover, but, Gracie would send, Vernon out there to get the chicken.
Back in the day, where we used to live, my mom used to do that. She had the chickens, and I'd watch her go out there and wring it like this.
My relatives did it.
Chop the head off, and the thing would be still jumping around.
Yeah, my ancestors did it. Laura's family did it. They would go out there to the farm, get the chicken, and
and do them in.
It wasn't my job. I would never eat.
Never eat. I'm not doing this.
Yeah. So, but that was the way of life for them back in the day.
And the third time around, you went again. Did it change one more time?
It did change. Like I said, they built a lot more properties across the street, and there's a hotel called the Heartbreak Hotel, and it's a duplicate of the house. And they made the suites and the rooms just like some of the rooms in Graceland. So if you want to experience sleeping in one of their rooms, you can go there and stay.
What an idea!
Hotel.
So they're actually just.
That was Priscilla's idea, by the way.
Yeah, does she own the hotel or something?
She owns it. She owns a lot of the Elvis enterprise. Now that Lisa has passed, a lot of that's going to go to Riley, 100%. But Priscilla still owns a portion of it, and she helps Riley manage it too.
So it goes off really well.
Yeah, but it goes to the family, which I'm glad, because Riley really embraces everything, and she's a lovely young lady, great actress, and you really need to get to know Elvis's granddaughter to understand Lisa Marie Presley. She loved her mother.
And you also have two wonderful guests in the room here.
Yes.
We got Jim and Michelle.
Jim and Michelle, yeah. You want to come in and say hi? No?
No,
Jim and Michelle, I am so honored and I have such gratitude that you came to see me do this interview and meet with me. I've never had that before, so I appreciate that tremendously. Thank you for the support and coming to meet me. So that was a surprise.
And for all over the world, we're in Nairobi, we're in, of course, Lisbon, Clifton, New York City, Maryland, Lima, Peru. We're all over the planet, just broadcasting live. Some of these people only have Windows 10, some have Chromebook, Chrome Mobile. We can see what kind of devices they're on, the longitude,
They're on all their
latitude.
stuff, huh?
If they're on
Italy,
Mac,
yeah, look at that, all over the place, Japan.
Ho Chi Minh City, Japan. We have people who watch us from Japan. I know friends out there, Munich, Germany, who go, Calgary, of course. They love Elvis up in Canada.
You know, I have to tell you, you know, when you're in a band, when they talk about the Memphis Mafia, it's a family. And they went with Elvis everywhere. Elvis did not like being alone.
The Memphis Mafia.
Yeah,
Is this like the North Side Mafia?
They
here in Denver?
They did not want Elvis to be alone. And I have the Roustabouts. And the Roustabout name came from the film Roustabout, which Elvis starred in with Barbara Stanwyck.
I remember her.
It's about a carny, and he's on a motorcycle, you know. And I'm just a roustabout. He's driving down the road with his leather coat. And so that's where I got that name from for my band. And my members now is Donnie Dark and Kelly Sheridan. Dan Burke is in it. Chuck Schumann, the drummer. He's the drummer. Donnie's the lead guitar player. Dan is the lead guitar player. Kelly's bass player. And then we have Kate Duran. She is a keyboard player, back vocalist. And then, of course, my wife Laura is the manager. She's the marketer. She's an acoustic rhythm guitar player. She's a native here from Pueblo or Whitlock, and she also sings. And we write all the songs for Shellis and the Roustabouts, and that's my Memphis Mafia. We call ourselves the Mafia Girls.
Not like the Down the Hill gang, like I was from,
forget
right?
about it. You gotta say it a little bit. See, I like to do impressions a
I'm
little bit.
gonna make you an offer you can't
I'm gonna
refuse.
You know, I have to tell you about that movie, The Godfather. That's a story that's about the real mafia. And when they had that scene with the horse's head,
Oh yeah, yeah.
they didn't like, Mario Aprizio. They wrote the book and they said, well, we don't like the fake horse's head. So they went to the glue factory and got a real one.
A real horse.
And they put that in there.
No,
And
sir.
that actor was actually screaming
Because
he did
like,
not
yeah.
know that it was real.
Oh, dang.
And that's a true story.
And that's good. You make it so real, so especially movies.
There's a miniseries about that movie. You should watch it. It's,
And
pretty
we talked
crazy.
about this earlier,
Yeah.
and I was telling you about the studio. Now we utilize AI to our
Yeah,
functionality.
AI does everything.
I don't have to
You don't know
use-
what to believe anymore.
I don't
It's
have
crazy.
to bring my equipment in here. I said, give me a second while I
This is not AI, by the way. This is
No,
real.
this is all
This is my
real.
real hair, my real face, my real jacket.
No, this ain't really her.
That's
All
my
right.
real hair, man. I just gotta spray it. You know? And it was funny because I was going to Scottsdale, Arizona to visit my daughter, and I was getting off the plane, and I wasn't dressed like Elvis, and I was just getting off, and I forgot my backpack, so I run back on, and I was coming up, and they said, "Hey, Shelvis," and I turned around, and I looked and I went, and he said, "Are you still doing shows?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Nice to see you." I just got off the plane in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I was just like, sometimes those things surprise me, but they also startle me a little bit, because local fame could be a little scary.
That's
I've had
right.
some, things happen. where
We
people,
talked about it earlier.
People weren't
about
very
being
nice.
Stalkers. And
Yeah, I had a
stuff can
stalker for
happen.
2 years sending me some weird crap in the mail, and I
you
had
have
to
to
get my
actually
lawyer
get
involved.
You got to get security involved. You got to
Security,
There's all these variables that a
law
lot of people don't.
enforcement.
Yeah, they don't understand what really.
Yeah, they don't understand it. People, people don't understand the character from the person.
Yeah.
This is a show. It's not who I am.
Or even if
So.
you have fame, you got fame, and they know who you are. They
Yeah,
like try to get around you.
I don't like the fame part of it. I just like entertaining and
Yeah.
making the money. Making the money is the best part. Because then you can do things you weren't able to do and buy nicer stuff,
Yeah.
equipment, costumes, whatever your needs are. But the fame part, I can understand where the Presleys were very not into the fame part. But how could you not be?
Yeah,
They
that's
were a
right.
dynasty.
Big
So,
time now.
you know,
big
it's just
time,
what it
yeah,
is, just like the Kennedys or anything like that,
Or
you
the
know.
Jacksons. Look
The
at
Jacksons, you know,
Jesus.
and that's also in the book.
Now he had a relationship going on there too, so a lot of that was something else. You know what I mean?
Michael Jackson met Lisa backstage at a concert in Vegas, and she was only 6 years old.
Lord have mercy.
And he remembered her because she was wearing a white dress, and that's also in this book.
Lord have mercy.
And it wasn't like instant love affair or anything like that. And then down the road, Lisa, when she was around 16, she got to meet Michael again, and they got to talking and got close, and they had a lot of similar things about families being grown up in, you know,
The
in
dynamics
poverty
and the attributes
that
of it
whole,
all. Mhm.
yeah. So get the book. I really can't talk about all of it right now, but in the end, they wind up. She divorces Danny, her husband. That's also the book. Which Danny was a great father and a mentor, and actually he tried to revise Lisa Marie Presley at the house when she was dying, and she did not die from drugs, folks. She had the lap band, it got infected and septic, and she got really sick and she passed away. So, not drug overdose. But Danny was there, her ex-husband. And so that's also a part of the book with Michael and Danny, and when she divorced Danny to marry Michael. And how that relationship, you know, grew. They just didn't get married. And it wasn't a publicity stunt either. So get the book and it'll explain. We can't be here all night because we'll be talking about that all night, but that's in the book.
It's interesting, you know, you're bringing a wealth of information to us, and Shelvis, I really appreciate how you do this because you have got so much to talk about because you've been there 3 times.
Yep.
You're a performer,
Yep.
and you know, putting out this beautiful, beautiful delivery of the Shelvis show, Shelvis and the Roustabouts.
Yeah.
And
well,
when
know,
I saw you, I thought, I told you, I called you up. I said, "You want to do an interview?" I've never done it. It was your first interview.
Yeah, it was my
ever.
first time. That was many months ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, and we established this relationship. Like we love what each other does. And,
Yeah, it's crazy.
And we've watched each other grow and
Yeah.
what we're doing, and
Yeah.
here we are again. We're doing it again, and
It's kind of like
you
a family.
Yeah, and then you say, okay, here you go. What I like these digs, you know. So it's like we stepped it up.
You just step it up.
We
Yes,
stepped
you
it
did.
up
And
here.
you grow every time. You know, you learn more, and your craft gets better and better and better. You know.
Because streaming back then was unheard of.
Yeah,
Nobody
nobody
said,
streamed.
What's that?
Yeah.
What's streaming? And that word wasn't even coming about. Then the platforms, that word. Then the other one that's big right now is listen to my podcast. We were doing that in 2014. Everybody look at us like, what are you talking about? What, listen to our podcast. This is in 2014, 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
And so
I look pretty good for 10 years ago. Right?
Yeah, you do. You look the
I'll be
same.
60 in July,
You
and I'm
look
still
the same.
doing this.
I look pretty good for 97.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
First liar never wins.
Yeah. But anyway, but people understand that, you know, I just decided to put an Elvis suit on and do Elvis. You know, I've been singing since I was a kid, all kinds of music. You know, and like I said, to John Travolta, and I even got to meet John Travolta here in Denver, which was a huge for me. I never thought that would ever happen. The Westward paper got me to meet him because I impersonated him in my show. Which, by the way, Priscilla Presley, in the Scientology thing, everybody said, "Oh, Lisa got into Scientology." Blah. Actually, Lisa would have never gotten into Scientology if it wasn't for Priscilla, because she met John Travolta, and John Travolta and her became friends, and John Travolta introduced Scientology to her. And because Lisa was a wild child teenager and doing things, and that's also in this book, right here, she dropped her off at Scientology to get her to be more disciplined in her drug use and her behavior. And it did help her, actually, and it did get Lisa on track. So in some ways it was good, in some ways it wasn't. Lisa and her mother didn't have a really strict loving bond. It was more of a parent trying to raise a child that was still in love with her father, who was gone, and idolized her father. And Elvis was actually a great father.
Did they keep all his guitars and everything in that museum over at Graceland?
Oh yeah, they have everything.
Have
there.
everything.
They have everything there. Everything is there. You know, all his costumes, his jewelry, you name it, is all there.
Everything's there.
Even Lisa's baby toys
No,
and
sir,
all kinds of
everything's
stuff
right
is
there.
there. I
They
mean,
you can see
you'd be
it
there
all.
for hours. You know,
just looking at all the goodies. Huh?
yeah, I just went to. I was in Arizona, in Phoenix, and I went to this museum. It's the history of instruments.
Mm.
and it starts from Africa all the way up to now. And every room is from every country. It's called MIM. It's the only one in the world.
Wow.
And you wear these headphones and you walk in front of these displays and it plays the music from Africa with all these tools and everything.
All these kind of instruments.
Every
and
single
stuff,
instruments and all kinds of things. You gotta go.
And now
Oh my
that you say
gosh.
that, Pauline brought in this kalimba, which in Earth, Wind, and Fire they play this kalimba.
Kalimba, right.
Which is, the kalimba is actually from Africa, like you
That's
said.
right. That's
And
right.
so that's a really nice instrument that
That's
sounds
right.
so good and so profound. Now, you get on stage now, we were talking earlier of what you played, and what you said, something about a trumpet?
Not me. I don't play
Oh,
trumpet.
no. So you just get up and strictly sing and entertain and perform.
Yeah, and I play 3 chords on the guitar a little bit, I fake it, whatever, 'cause like Elvis did. But Elvis do 3 chords. But I basically just perform. I'm just entertaining. But I am a drummer.
Yeah.
I'm a very good drummer.
See,
I've been playing drums since I was a kid. I played in a lot of other bands growing up in Jersey. My first band was the Cat's Meow. It was just a trio, and with Jimmy Guzzi. And then after that, I was in another band called Small Talk with Walter Pendleton. And this guy Jerry and a bunch of other lead guitar players, classic rock. I was a drummer for them, and I was in a band called Rude Awakening, and and another band called Tough Brews with Dave Freshman here in Colorado. So I was a drummer for many, many, many people. So I'm an accomplished drummer.
So how many?
Percussionist.
Okay, so you have this extraordinary band called the Roustabouts.
Yes.
Has everybody been the same for the longest time?
Oh no, we've had so many different people come in and out, and because people moved away, passed away, not well. Just couldn't do it anymore because they were tired, of playing out. Because we're a working band.
Yeah,
We
you work
a lot.
and go out and do a
Yeah,
lot, and that takes this energy out of you.
the core of the band right now is just the 3 of us would be Kelly Sheridan, Laura Whitlock, and myself. We are the longest roustabouts, and everyone else was, planted in. We put the seeds down, and they grew. But every roustabout is always contribute something new and something better. And once a roustabout, always a roustabout.
Yeah,
and
you
many
always come back
drummers,
and check it out.
Kurt, who passed away, and Frank Diaz, great drummer. He filled in for us for a long, long time. James Patrick was very good, Doc, he played for us for a while, And so we had different drummers come in and out. But the longest drummer that we've had, Joey was a great drummer too. He was from Jersey. He stayed with us for a year. But the longest drummer I think we had was RJ. And RJ was our first drummer. And he was phenomenal, yes.
And he had that kick, he had that bottom, he just knew how to fill in with all
He was just a really great musician.
your
He could
triple
play bass.
Radamadew,
And he was just great. He
Radamadews,
was our very first drummer.
your flip flams.
Yeah,
He
he
had all
moved
your
to
accents.
Oklahoma, so otherwise he'd still be playing in my band. Yes, because I just loved him. He used to call me Junior. Calm down, Junior.
Why?
Because I used to get upset. Because I have a
That's a
temper. I'm
Junior.
Italian. I have a temper. If you ask the band, they'll say,
Come on, Junior.
Lori Shelvis always give a stink eye, like this, on stage.
Stink
Elvis,
eye.
I like that, stink eye, because if they
Stink
miss
eye, I
a
like that.
chord or something wasn't right,
Yeah.
I look around and go, give him stink eye. What are you doing, man? What's up with that?
What's wrong with that?
What happened? What happened? And they all like, God dang it, Lori, stop giving me stink eye.
Come on, Junior.
And
You
it's
really
just-
called you Junior.
Yeah.
Get pissed off.
He called me Junior. Calm down, Junior. Now Kate calms me down. She's a Shelvis tamer, and she brings that
Shelvis.
constant. But I've gotten a lot better now that I'm older. Now I just don't care. 'Cause,
Just
who knows?
don't
Tomorrow
care.
could be gone. You never know. It could happen. Yesterday I saw this thing. I was walking the dogs, and this thing was in the sky. It was a line of lights. It was 10 of them.
Whoa.
And I said, "Oh my God, we're getting invaded by aliens!" And I didn't know it was that blue sky satellite that moves around the world.
Earth, yeah.
And that's what it was. And I said, man, if I have one of those Kenny South Park incidents where I get, probed, I'm going to be like, I'm going to be famous. Elvis goes to the aliens, man. And I'm glowing. I said, that'd be funny as hell.
Funny, it's funny.
You remember that?
Yeah,
Remember that? Oh God! But I
like
did
to watch
see it. I was
those
freaking
things.
out, and I said, "What's this?" I said, "I don't know." And I asked my son-in-law, who was in the Air Force. He told me what it was, and it's just that blue
Gonna probe you.
skyline satellite, and I did not know. I'm like, "Oh, they're coming! They're coming! We're in trouble! Something's going!" I'm like, "What's that? What is that?"
What the hell is this?
But those drones in Jersey.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Remember all that stuff was going on
And
in Jersey?
there's a lot of people who can take those down with no problem.
Oh,
There's all
yeah.
these really sleek
Yeah.
young people that put them in, take that down. Okay, here, let me do it.
But you just never know these days,
Yeah.
right? But that's why I just don't care anymore. I just have it because I still give stink eye once in a while.
Well,
but not too
KUHS
often.
had 2 drones, and because they outlawed them all over the place, and North Glen, Thornton, all over the place, we can't use our
Yeah,
drones.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we're
yeah.
always using drones just for the.
Yeah, they don't
the
sell.
look
They
of-
don't sell them to the public.
Uh-uh. So
Anymore,
we
anymore.
had 2 big ones, but the FAA would always say you're invading. And they'd always
Well,
come
I'm sorry, but really, say you're taking a shower
Yeah,
and
true.
somebody's like, "Nee," and you're like, what the, you know?
It was KUHS. They're giving you the honor.
I'm in the shower, man. Thank you very much. Pull the shade down. You know? Can you imagine? Jeez, no.
Well, ours is for presentation.
Not only that, you know, it could also open doors for terrorist attacks, which was a main
That's what
concern.
they say.
with
You can
it,
do
yeah.
drop a payload right
That's
there.
right, that's right. And we've been having a lot of that situation right now, so we don't need no drones.
And a big shout out to all the people who lost people out there in the northern quarter down there in Louisiana. It was awful. It's like 'cause things really go down wrong. You know, sometimes you wonder what's wrong with America.
Well, we don't live in a big fishbowl of perfectness. It's just the way it is, you know. And,
And
if
then
everybody
this-
thinks we're going to be, it's not a reality. It's just
And then
how
we
it
look
is.
at how we have to go through all this different varieties of politics.
Well, that's why Elvis says, if I can dream for a better man, all my brothers walk hand in hand. Tell me why, oh why can my dream come true? He sang that song.
Oh,
and till
really
this
well.
day,
Yes.
nada.
Now he had a
Nada.
great band that would back him too. Elvis had come with that band, and that band backed him so well. They just knew how to.
And the sweet inspiration,
Oh God.
you know, Cicely Houston, she just died. She just died. Whitney Houston's mom just
Yes,
passed away.
yes, yes,
She
yes.
was part of the Sweet Inspiration. She sang back up for Elvis.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. She was so good, and she had a daughter that was. When she stepped on stage, she turned into a different songbird. She stepped off stage. It's like yeah.
Well, there's these certain human beings that are entertainers. You had Elvis, you had, the Beatles.
When they stepped
Certain
on
people that
stage,
would
yeah.
just explode on stage, and they
Yeah.
were
The
not
delivery.
like human beings. They were just
Yeah.
some of the greatest songs and the stage presence. Michael Jackson, you had so many different people, and now who do we have now? Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga,
You know.
you have
say it.
Beyonce. It's a whole different world now, and a different kind of music.
Dua
but
Lipa. I watched her perform the other day on TV. She had the most phenomenal presentation without showing everything.
yeah, you
She
don't
came
have
out
to
with
show
this
everything.
luxurious
You don't,
gown, and she had this orchestra. She
Yeah.
had singers, dancers.
Yeah.
My word.
You
did
know,
she do it right.
I was talking to Laura about this. I said, there's too much revealed,
I know we're talking about that too. Yeah.
being sold as the product instead of really looking into the soul of that person and what they're presenting on stage and
That's
singing
right.
to
And
you.
singing
And actually touching you with
with
the lyrics
music.
and the music,
Mhm.
and not the production
And
and
the
and showing
dancing
all
and-
this fancy stuff. And now they have that auto voice toner. Now you don't even know what they really sound like,
And
or they
they're-
lip sync.
Yes, they're doing a lot of
They
lip
do
syncing.
loops and loops. Everybody's doing loops now. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't do loops in my
Mm.
band.
Mm.
We're all raw. We write straight forward. We don't do any of that stuff with
Well, you
the
should
computer
hear how good
and
you
all that
guys
stuff.
sound too, though. It's like the
The raw
harmonies.
sound, it's just who we are. We
Your
don't do all that
harmonies,
loops.
you,
Yeah,
just the way
yeah.
you bring your dynamics down when you're
Yeah,
singing.
we don't do
It's
that
like-
in our
Mhm.
band. We are who we are, and we're entertainers. All of our people are in our band are entertainers. We all put it all out there, not just me. If it wasn't for the Roustabouts, I can't perform. I mean, they,
How
they
old is
make
the
me.
Roustabouts?
Right now, we're 11 years old.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a long
And
time running. Mhm.
if they don't do good, I don't do good. If it wasn't for them and their talents, I cannot project the best performance I can on stage.
If you just joined us, you're listening to KUHS Radio TV Entertainment Presents, of course, Shelvis.
But I also want to talk about the fans, okay? I want to thank all my fans out there who have been coming to the shows and supporting live music in the state of Colorado. Don't stop doing that, folks, because if you stop supporting bands and local artists in the state of Colorado, it goes away. And then you're just going to have AI stuff and holograms and DJs and,
Well, we
that's
do
it.
some of that, so let's. I mean,
Well, a little bit's okay, but
we'll
I
just
don't
do a
know, you
little
gotta be
bit, just-
careful with that stuff, I mean.
I'm not really here.
He's not here, everybody. He's AI. But I do want to shout out to all the fans that come. I can't name them all. The Elvis Connection was a huge fan base for me for a long time. Susie Roberts and Chris Newland, huge fans, Eleanor Hunt, huge fans of mine who come, Roxy comes out and sees me every time. I appreciate her. Thank you for coming out and supporting me. Cindy, a bunch of people who come regularly, Dino and his wife. I can't mention everyone, but they know who they are, and the roustabouts and myself just say thank you. And all the venues that hire us, thank you so much. The Rusty Bucket
and Jim and Michelle.
Who?
Jim and
Jim
Michelle.
Michelle, right here, and they've seen me and they've followed me on stage and all that kind of stuff. So we appreciate that.
And also Mayra Alejandra.
Yes.
And it says Yay Laura and
Mayra
Yay
Alejandra. She's a
Shells.
great singer. She actually sings with a duo with Steve.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes,
really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes. And so many people that I know. Many bands out there, great bands, tribute artists and stuff, but we're not a tribute artist band, folks. We are Shelvis and Roustabouts. We are just a show, And,
I like the way you
that's
put that
what's
right now
important.
because it's true. When you did that thing over there at the underground, at the with the background of the horns and stuff, that really still sits with me well.
Well,
Because
you're a horn guy. You like that.
Yeah, I do.
You like that big sound,
yes, I
know?
love horns.
You know,
It just
and
gives you that.
we want to do another one of those.
Did
at
it give you the
yeah.
chills when you got to hear that?
Yeah,
You get
because it's just like
it gives you that strength.
You know,
to just
it's
come
just
out
it's the
power.
presence of here comes the king of rock and roll on stage, and it's got to be big. When you come out and walk out there. And Elvis, I saw Elvis when I told you when I was 8 years old, and there was nothing ever anybody like him, and never will be ever. Nobody will ever be like him. On a personal level, on an artist level, singing, even as a man, he's one of a kind and a God's gift to music industry, I believe.
And don't forget the book.
And
about
the book right here.
When's your next production? Where are you guys going?
Oh my gosh! So we're doing the polar bear plunge. It's a private thing. It's outside.
Oh, that's crazy!
Oh my God! Last year we did it. Listen, last year we did it. It was minus, 14, and you could see the smoke. And I had a hat on. I had a cowboy hat on, and I was bundled up. And they had these heaters, and my coat went on fire. And everybody said, "Joe, your coat's on fire!" And it's smoking. I said, "Hucka, burn in love." And the smoke was going up, and everybody was laughing. I'm not trying to put it out, And they cut a piece of ice out for
No,
these
they
people to
didn't.
jump into this water.
Oh Lord!
So we're doing it again this year. Actually, we're doing it next Saturday. And we'll be playing outside for them. And that's our next show. We do everything for anyone,
Oh my
anytime,
God.
anywhere.
Just show us the money.
Well, that too. But, we'll take the challenge. We'll take the challenge. You give it to us, we'll do it. People want a song for us to learn, we'll learn it.
How about a couple of bars in here of maybe 2 songs, 3 songs? 2 bars?
I got something to tell you.
Hold on. Before we get going, do you want
What?
to do it standing up or do you want to do it sitting down?
I'm
Because I'm
going
going to
to
patch
do
into
sit
you.
down. I'm going to stand.
Okay, so
I
I'm
don't
going
got
to
my
patch
big
into
belt
you.
on tonight.
I'm going to patch into you. And whenever you're ready,
So B.J. Thomas passed away just last year, and so this is
do a little bit of Elvis and do some, what's his name? We were just talking
Tom
about
Jones?
Tom Jones. Maybe do 3 different ones.
3 different ones?
Mhm.
Okay. Elvis sang a song. B.J. Thomas was singing, but I always liked the song, and I'll sing a little few bars of it. I got something to tell you that I think you ought to know. Wrap my arms around you, Laura, a long time ago. Now I finally got the nerve. I'm gonna make my move. So don't you try to turn me off. It's really gonna be hard to do. I gotta think about you, baby. Ain't nothing I can do. I gotta think about you, baby. Think about loving you. How's that?
I like that.
You
And
like
then
that's a
John
nice one.
Travolta.
That's one of my favorites. John Travolta, stranded at the drive-in, Brandon, a fool. What will they say Monday at school? Sandy, can't you see I'm in Missouri? We made a part somewhere we start, nothing left for me. How about
Tom
that?
Jones.
What?
Tom.
Not unusual to be loved by anyone. Not unusual to be having fun with anyone. But if I find that you have changed at any time, it's not unusual. It happens every day. No matter what you say, you'll find it happens all the time. Love will never do what you wanted to. Why can't this crazy love be mine? How's that?
Oh, that's nice. That's the way we roll. That's the way we roll here at KUHS. Well,
Yeah, my little parched too. It's dry in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need some water.
You should have told me. We got water in the back, you know. So
Well, you didn't give me. You didn't offer the water.
No, you don't have to. You know, you're welcome. This is your house. You know where the refrigerator's at.
I should have went there. I should have got some. Huh? Anyway, I just want to thank Henry for having me on the show and during Elvis's birthday and the opportunity to talk about Elvis and different things that are going on. But to be honest with you folks, Henry's doing a great service to many artists and also the music community throughout the world. So listen to his station, follow him on Facebook and also on the internet. He's an amazing station here. So.
And it's true. We're promoting artists from
Thank you for the
around.
water.
He ran to 7-Eleven.
You're awesome. You're awesome.
Jim ran
Water.
to 7-Eleven to get it.
He ran all the way over there.
Now you're not parched. You're all good.
So anyway,
And it's nice to have you back, and this is 2025. So I'm
2025.
glad you all got to join us and see what Shelvis is all about. We started a tadpole late because we were doing show after show after show. And, and the second show, they got up and they kind of knocked us off for about 5 minutes. I could kill him, but he does that every now and then. But it's all good. So big shout out to Paul Lane with his awesome show via Zoom out of California. I think that one came in from California. Also Paul Chavez launching the all new, it's called the Latin Connection, which was done a long time ago. It became very big, and they relaunched it just today, and they did a top 10 of the best songs they know, and it was called the Latin Connection. They used somebody else because the actual first, his other partner that was the Latin Connection is a little ill and can't really make it into the studio. So we used Ed Padilla, which he's also got a show here, which is a Christian show. Singer and leader of a band called, his band is the Soul Food Band. He's also a singer of the band, so he fit just perfectly. And so those two, you could tell they had great chemistry. And so with that being said, anything to say?
Yeah, so follow Shelvis and the Roustabouts on our website. We have all our scheduled shows for next year and the year after that. We're also going to be doing a live presentation on Boulder Radio. We'll keep you updated on that. That's happening in February. We have some VFW shows. Look into that. We love doing those dances that we do out there. We like to do a lot of shows for the veterans. We're doing another one for the Veterans Association, plus other concerts and outside shows that we're doing. It's all on our website, folks. And we also have a Facebook page that's also a website. You can go on there. You can request stuff from us. You can also hire us if you want to. We are available for private shows, weddings, anything you need, we can do for you. Matter of fact, today I was supposed to do a funeral.
Oh, really?
And it came out of the blue, and I was committed to the radio station, so I wasn't able to go and sing, Amazing Grace for someone who had passed away. Somebody recommended me because I am an ordained minister,
Yes,
so
that's
I do
right.
do that sometimes. I bless, marry, and bury. So, like Elvis or like myself. And so I'm sorry I couldn't do that for them because I wasn't available. But we do all kinds of things, folks. Show us in the roustabouts, and we are available. And we know folks have budgets, so we work with the clients, and their budget, scales, because we know times are hard. Sometimes some people can't afford us, but that's okay. We work with you. All right, we're not all about us, folks. We're about you and making you happy and giving you the best entertainment that is what we love in our hearts, which is Elvis and also all these other icons that do Buddy Holly, Elvis, Tom Jones. We do some 80s mashups. We do country western. We do Johnny Cash. We do so much stuff. We're doing some Motown, Beatles. I mean, we do a lot. So go on Shelvis and the Roustabouts website. Check it out. I'll see you soon, I hope. I want to thank the fans for coming to the interview today. God bless you. God bless America. Let's keep ourselves healthy and love each other, folks. Give love out there.
And with that being said, don't forget we're going to play a couple of the songs by Shelvis and the Roustabouts. So stay tuned to this radio broadcast. But the live feed is going to go off here in a second. But we want you to hear The Breakfast King at 2 a.m. It's awesome. We'll just start it out right now so you can kind of get a gist of how it sounds. But we're gonna log off the live feed because they call it, and I'm not sure why they always call it this way. Is they always say, "Oh my God, you are doing some stuff that you're not supposed to be doing. That's copyright infringement." No, we're not. She's here.
That's right.
So with that being said, we'll talk to y'all later.